Welcome back. In this particular session, I'll be talking about the basics of the performance review or performance appraisal. And by the end of it, you will know the differences not only between these terms, but also the features of a performance review. What is a performance appraisal? And how is it different from a performance review? Well, there are synonyms. You can use the terms performance review, performance evaluation, career development discussion, or employee appraisal simultaneously. Throughout this course, I'll be using the terms performance appraisal and performance review. What do they mean? Well, what it captures is how your organizational goals align with the work that the team members in this organization are doing. Put in another way, how your organization, how your goals as an individual in the organization align with the organization's goals. So, I see that a piece of this is cut off, but let me just put this in a very simple way, just to give you a snapshot of what this actually means in reality. A performance review is a way in which an organization is able to think about the people that work in the organization, and most importantly, how their work contributes to the mission, vision, and direction of the organization itself. And it not only is important for the organization, but it's also important for the career development of those that are in the building. What are the features of a performance review? The first feature is that it collects data. Often people will talk about informal performance reviews. Well, those are also methods of collecting data. A performance review is about using information and thinking through information to make strategic performance decisions. You can have a performance review annually, quarterly, weekly, and sometimes even daily. Another key feature of the performance review is the alignment with organizational goals. In other words, how your work, as mentioned earlier, how your work aligns with the work of the organization. And finally, it's performance oriented. A performance review focuses on what the person is doing and the contribution they are making towards the organization. So it is an evaluative tool as well. Let's talk about some of the benefits. The benefits of a performance review is that it facilitates conversations about the work that people are doing in the organization. So for example, often we get so caught up in completing tasks. Well, what a performance review does is helps you align those tasks and the purpose of those tasks to the ultimate purpose. It helps you set goals to achieve, and it gives people direction. It helps people improve their performance by understanding the boundaries and the goals and the plans that often come as a result of performance reviews. And finally, it helps determine training needs. However, performance reviews can also cause unnecessary complications. There are very strong negative perceptions of performance reviews. Often in the literature, it talks about how performance reviews actually adversely affect performance. Well, this can be counteracted. However, it's important for you to understand that a performance review is not good by itself. It has to be done in a way that improves performance and improves quality. Some complications can also be legal issues. Often, because of the nature of how performance reviews can be conducted, this can create complications when it comes to bias and some other elements that we will talk about a little bit later. And finally, performance reviews can have an adverse effect on the performance goals. What this means, for example, is that often managers will track and evaluate employees on certain measures, and employees will spend more time on those measures than other tasks that may be equally as valuable to the organization, but may not necessarily be able to be tracked in the organization. For example, if the manager only focuses on finances, how many sales are made, they may not necessarily see that there are other elements that need to be taken into account and not just the final number at the end of the month. And so employees may see that they're only being evaluated on their sales and not take into account other quality standards in the execution of their work. So how can we improve performance appraisals or performance reviews? Well, training is critical. Talking through the point of a performance review is critical for people to understand, particularly as it relates to pay for performance. Secondly, providing feedback to raters. Often the people who are giving performance reviews often need reviews themselves to understand how they can improve the way in which they give feedback. And finally, subordinate participation in the literature has been a critical way. In other words, a dialogue rather than a linear process of performance reviews has been proven to be the most effective way of executing a performance review process.